What is up, Raidernation? It's your boy Samora back at it again with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the final 53-man roster, all the cuts, all the waves, all the different roster moves going around the Raider Nation. I know there's been a couple of surprising roster moves, but I'm going to talk about it all in today's video. But before I get started with this video, I want to give you a huge shout out to my boys over at BlackSundayShop.com for hooking your boy up with this dope Howie Long t-shirt. So if you guys want to go cop your own, head over to BlackSundayShop.com. With that being said, let's get started with the video. Cue the intro.
And you tell them one thing. Just win, baby.
Now, before I go over the final 53-man roster, I want to go over all the players that we cut and waived from this roster, starting with Matt Bushman, Lester Cotton, Matt Dickerson, Keelan Doss, BJ Emmons, Jerry Green, Garrett Groshek, Devery Hamilton, Isaiah Johnson, Jared Jones-Smith, Dallin Levitt, Jimmy Morrissey, Jeremiah Patasi, Trey Ragas, Max Richardson, Niall Scott, Dylan Stoner, DJ Turner, Kendall Vickers, John Brown, Derek Carrier, Karl Joseph, Patrick Omame, Bleedy Ray Wilson, Osmar Bilal, and Alex Ellis. Now, out of all these names, some surprising cuts to me that I did not see coming. One was running back Trey Ragas, a guy that really showed out during the preseason. I mean, he did the best that he could, and I felt like either BJ Emmons or Trey Ragas was going to take over that RB3 spot. I didn't think that we were going to keep my boy Jalen Richard, but as you guys can see, Jalen Richard is on the final 53 for now, but Trey Ragas didn't even get a roster spot, let alone BJ Emmons. Both of these guys are hitting the waivers, and they will most likely be back on the practice squad. Another rookie that kind of surprised me was center Jimmy Morrissey. I thought he played real well, especially in that last game. Solid center, especially to be a part of the roster, you know, to provide depth on the offensive line. I thought he would have at least made the roster, but I believe that, you know, having Nick Martin and Andre James already on the roster, I don't think that they need three centers. So I believe that Jimmy Morrissey is another guy that most likely will make the practice squad if he does not get claimed. Tight end Derek Carrier also is another name that I thought would have made the roster because he's already been with the system. He's already played under John Gruden, and I believe he's a solid tight end, you know, to back up Foster Moreau and Darren Waller. But the Raiders went into a different direction. And other names that were surprising to me was safety Karl Joseph and John Brown, who actually wanted out of here. So if he wanted out of here, I don't really care about him not being a part of the team. I guess Smoke didn't want none of that smoke, if you know what I mean. But it was surprising nonetheless. Now, some names I wasn't surprised with, because I told you guys before these guys were gonna be cut, was Patrick Omame, Jared Jones-Smith, and Lester Cotton Sr. Those three guys were freaking trash out there, but I'm pretty sure that the Raiders might bring them back. I don't know which players, but those guys definitely did not need to be a part of the final 53. As far as the other young wide receivers, Dylan Stoner, DJ Turner, and Keelan Doss were all names as well that I did not think that were going to make the team. I just thought we were going to keep 6 wide receivers on the roster, but I guess John Brown didn't want to be a part of this roster, so adios amigos. Anywho, I do believe that 2 of the 3 wide receivers on this list will most likely be on the practice squad as well. Now, a name that a lot of Raider fans have been talking about, have been confused about, is cornerback Nevin Lawson. Now, I know a lot of you guys are mad, like, yo, how can this guy make the team? I think you guys need to chill, you know, pump the brakes right now. He's not officially a part of the 53-man roster. He is on the suspension list. Will be missing the first 2 games of suspensions, which means he doesn't account for one of the 53-man roster spots. But out of all the names that I listed to you guys, some of the players that I do believe will make the practice squad, and according to Levi Damon, he tweeted today that none of our players got claimed. Not too long after he tweeted this, one player did get claimed, and that is cornerback Isaiah Johnson. He will be joining the Texans practice squad, which kind of sucks, but I don't care at the end of the day. But at the time of this recording, 3 players are confirmed to be back on the practice squad, and that includes defensive tackle Niall Scott, defensive end Kendall Vickers, and offensive lineman Devery Hamilton. Now, I don't understand why they would have Devery Hamilton back on this roster, but I guess, right? But I'm happy to see that Kendall Vickers is back on the team, at least at the practice squad, because he does provide depth on the defensive line if anything was to happen to any of our starters or the players that are on the final 53. Now let's get into your Las Vegas Raiders initial final 53-man roster. Starting with your quarterbacks, we obviously have Derek Carr, Marcus Mariota, and Nathan Peterman, who I do believe is the best trio of quarterbacks in the whole entire league. You know, we have depth at that quarterback position, and if anything was to happen to Derek Carr, knock on wood, we'll be okay with my boy, my cousin, Marcus Mariota, and the GOAT, Nathan Peterman. Now let's move over to the running back position. We already know we have Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, but a surprising move was having Jalen Richard a part of this final 53-man roster. Now I heard reports going around that they might place him on that short-term IR, so we'll see what the Raiders do from now till then, or if they want to bring in another guy that was not claimed anywhere else, or we want to bring in a veteran free agent running back. Who knows? Because at the end of the day, I thought that Trey Ragas or BJ Amos was going to be a part of that RB3, but we'll see. Our fullback is obviously Alec Ingold. Man, that dude is a baller, so I'm happy to have him as our fullback, rocking that 4-5 with pride, you know. Now we move over to the big guys, the big fellas out there, you know, the tight ends. You know, we have Darren Waller, the best tight end in the league, no cap. And then you got Foster Moreau, who I believe is one of the better tight ends in the league as well, backing up Darren Waller. And then, surprisingly, we got Mikey Ray Bowers' cousin, Nick Bowers, out there backing up those three guys, who I was surprised as well. I thought Derek Carey was going to take that third tight end position, but I guess Nick Bowers looks solid out there. I think the versatility that Nick Bowers brings as a fullback / tight end is really what intrigued John Gruden to keep him on this roster, so I'm not too mad about this. Now let's move over to the pass catchers, the wide receivers. I thought initially we were going to go into the season with 6 wide receivers, but I guess we're going to roll with 5, which, you know, is no problem to me. Obviously, we got Henry Ruggs, Brian Edwards, Hunter Renfrow, Zay Jones, and my boy Willie Snead. Like I said before, I didn't think that my boy John Brown didn't want none of that smoke. That's why he wanted to call out of here. I think he would have got cut anyways, but he wanted to save himself the embarrassment. I mean, if John Brown wanted out, I think the Raiders should have kept one of these other receivers, and DJ Turner, Dylan Stone, or Keelan Doss. But we could also go look at in the free agency if any other guys are going to be available for us. I mean, one guy that I really liked out there that did get cut was St. Brown, I believe, from the Packers. I wouldn't mind having him a part of this roster, but there's so many different options. I know that the Raiders, if they want to keep these guys, then I'm fine with it. If they want to go get somebody that's out there, I wouldn't mind it as well. So if there's another guy that's out there that got cut or waived that you guys would want to see on this roster, let me know down in the comments below. Now moving over to the big boys up front, the offensive line. We got Colton Miller, Richie Incognito, Andre James, Denzel Good, Alex Leatherwood, and our depth at the offensive line, you know, backing up those guys, is Brandon Parker, John Stinson, and Nick Martin. Now that's 8 names right there. We only have 3 guys backing up our offensive line. I do believe that we do still need some depth on the offensive line, and after watching how our backups did in preseason, man, we're in big trouble if one of these guys go down. So hopefully, you know, we could go bring in a veteran to help bolster up this roster or bolster up this offensive line, and hopefully, knock on wood again, nothing happens to any of these starters out there, because one thing I don't want to see out there is John Simpson starting any one of these games, because if he does, man, you better hold on tight, because our quarterback might be hit a couple of times. Now let's move over to the defensive side. Man, we got so many new names on the defensive side of the ball. You know, bringing in Gus Bradley, it really has me excited to see where these guys are gonna fare, you know, especially throughout the season. We have a lot of mix of veteran players and young players that I believe will flourish in this defense. And let's start off with those defensive ends. We got Mad Max Crosby, Yannick Ngakoue, Clelin Ferrell, Karl Nassib, and Malcolm Koonce. Shout out to my boy Malcolm Koonce for actually making the roster. I do believe that he has a bright future. Kind of surprised that he made it, but I can't wait to see what he does throughout this whole season. And having guys ahead of him like Mad Max Crosby, Yannick Ngakoue, and Clelin Ferrell should help him a lot, you know, groom him to be that guy that we all know he can be. But man, am I excited to see Mad Max and Yannick go out there and cause havoc to opposing offenses. So, Raider Nation, real quick, how many sacks do you believe that Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue will have this season? And who do you think is going to be our leading sack leader? Let me know down in the comments below. Moving over to the inside with a defensive tackle position, we have Jonathan Hankins, Quentin Jefferson, Darius Philon, Gerald McCoy, and Solomon Thomas. Woo-wee! We got some big boys up in the middle, man. Pause. But what I'm trying to say is, man, we got some depth on that defensive line, man. Jonathan Hankins, shout out to Jonathan Hankins, been holding it down with this team for quite a while, and he's been a big boy up the middle, you know, a good run stopper. And then you got guys like Gerald McCoy who look really good, especially in that last game against the Santa Clara 49ers. And now Gerald McCoy got his number back. He got that number 93. So, I mean, I'm excited to see that as well. And just having Solomon Thomas make the team, I'm excited. I know that was one surprising move that I thought the Raiders were going to make, you know, cutting him. But I'm excited that he makes the final 53, and I cannot wait to see what he does this season on the defensive line. And trust me, all you guys that are doubting my boy Solomon Thomas are finna eat them words at the end of the season. Now let's look at the linebacker position. We have Corey Littleton, Nick Kwiatkowski, Tanner Muse, Divine Diablo, Denzel Perriman, Nicholas Morrow, and Javin White. Now as far as Nicholas Morrow and Javin White, they will most likely be placed on the IR list, so that will make some room for some of these other guys to return to the roster. As far as other guys on this roster, Denzel Perriman is officially a Raider. They announced it today that the transaction is finally cleared. He passes physical, so it's good to see that he's going to be a part of this roster. I do believe that the Raiders still need to address the linebacker position with some more depth, so we could possibly look at in free agency to bring in a veteran. I wouldn't mind that. At least any type of veteran, somebody that could be cheap, that could be a solid contributor to this defense, I'll be happy with. But a guy that I'm really looking forward to this season in this group is Tanner Muse. I can't wait to see what he does, especially coming off of a year that he didn't play, and a guy that is, you know, playing a new position. He has a really bright future, and hopefully he can shine this year for the Raiders. Now, as far as our cornerbacks, we obviously have Trayvon Mullen, Casey Hayward, Damon Arnett, Nate Hobbs, Amik Robertson, and Keyshawn Nixon. Man, shout out to my boy Amik Robertson, Nate Hobbs, and Damon Arnett. 3 guys that have showed out in preseason, earning their spot on this roster. And going into the season, I feel more comfortable having these guys back up, Trayvon Mullen and Casey Hayward. And then you add a guy like Keyshawn Nixon, who I didn't think was going to make the roster, but I do believe that he plays a big role on special teams. Now moving on to the safety position, we have Jonathan Abram, Trayvon Merrick, Tyree Gillespie, and Roderick Teamer. Now a name off of this list that does surprise me is Roderick Teamer, but I know that his time with Gus Bradley does play a part of him being on this team. But overall, you know, I can't wait to see Trayvon Merrick out there and Jonathan Abram out there, and even Tyree Gillespie. Tyree Gillespie was a guy that I really wanted in the draft, and we got him, and hopefully we could utilize him well, and he could go out there and ball out. So finishing up this roster with the special team, we have kicker Daniel Carlson, punter AJ Cole, and long snapper Trent Sieg. So with that being said, that is our initial final 53-man roster. For now, I know that our roster could possibly change in the next coming days with all of these cuts and waivers from all these other teams. So till then, I will keep you guys updated. But Raider Nation, what do you think about this final 53-man roster? Was there any surprise cuts that you had? Was there any players that you would have rather had on this roster than some of these players? Let me know down in the comments below. All right, Raider Nation, that is all I have for you guys today on this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button. It does a lot for this channel. And if this is the first time you're coming across my channel and you love the Las Vegas Raiders and you fuck with your boy some more Raider one time, then hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button just to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. Road to 50K, baby. With that being said, until the next video, this is your boy some more Raider, and your boy is yeah.
And you tell them one thing. Just win, baby.